It is funny, and I'm talking to myself here, um, but it is funny to watch the lag between. And if you're on video, then you get the privilege of I'm trying to figure out how to make this mic sound better. So we'll see. But on that note, welcome. Welcome, everybody, to the But Mostly Disney podcast. I don't know what just happened there. I had a huge flicker across my screen. I'm not very good at this, right? So each week we go live, usually on Thursdays. So Thursday-ish around 7:30. I am pushing it up tonight because I'm pushing up time-wise tonight because I want to be done by 7:30 to go watch Lou Mangello and the WDW Radio and his live 7:30. I believe he's coming from Swan and Dolphin Food Festival, but don't quote me on that because I do things wrong all the time. I'm also trying to push this out to Facebook, so we'll see if that works. Everything is up in the air. I'm not sure. So I'm also doing Wednesday this week because tomorrow, this time, I will be on the road heading down to Disney. Going to go down and see the Jollywood Nights opening night. I don't really get there since I'm in Virginia very often to be able to pop down and be there on the first night. So I'm excited. We didn't get to go last year. I'm really looking forward to it. I've seen some people like my buddy Jeremy Stein over at Main Street Magic said there were some glitches that he was hoping they'd fix. And then we'd be off to an awesome time because it's Christmas, guys. And as much as I hate to do it, I've always been a strict Thanksgiving dinner. Christmas does not start until the last bite of my pumpkin pie, my mom's pumpkin pie, which is spectacular. Once that's done, boom, immediately into Christmas. This year, I'm cheating a little bit. I put out a video the other day with some Christmas soap, and I'm going to go do some Christmas stuff in November. And it pains me a little bit, but these are the sacrifices I'm willing to make for you. So we moved some things around. Andrew couldn't be here tonight. He had an obligation, much like I have one tomorrow night. And keep in mind, guys, we're not professionals. We're doing the best we can. So didn't really have a topic. I had to kind of scramble. And what came to me was that on Wednesday, no, today's Wednesday. On Monday night, I recorded an episode, and I am such a fangirl. It really was cool to get to be on Lou Mangello's podcast, which is what you should be listening to, not mine. His is so much better. But I got to be a guest on there in a segment called In and Out. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it was like a dream come true. Quote, Cinderella. But on there, one of the questions was about Horizons. And it was difficult for me to answer because I've never been. I didn't get to see that. We started going to Disney, I want to say in 2006. My oldest was born in 2004. Yeah, I think 2006 was our first year. Before that, I'd been as a little kid in the 70s, but obviously no Epcot. I lived in Florida literally in the 90s, and but wasn't this big Disney nerd you see in front of you right now. It also bothered me if you're watching the video, but this little piece right here last night when I listened to the podcast bothered me because it looks like something I need to sit like this, but I can't stop fidgeting. And I'm trying to keep myself, about 3 inches from the microphone to see if it comes out sounding a little better. Because on the podcast, it didn't sound great and I didn't love it, which is why I'll probably never listen to it. I listened to enough to go, oh, I need to fix that. And I'm going to have to call smarter people. So I don't want to lean in like this if you're watching the video. But let me know how it sounds. We'll just keep going farther up, further in. So one of the things I think a lot of us lament as Epcot Center fans is the changes. And I do not fear change. Love might be a strong word. I do not fear change, but some of the stuff that Epcot's going through feels like some growing pains, and I don't want to call them mistakes, but maybe, the park is changing, and maybe it has to change, right? Like maybe that's part of what's going to keep the place solvent and keep us going back. Because I'd rather have a different Epcot than no Epcot, right? So I'm choose the good. I try to stay positive. I do have some complaints. I will try to keep them to myself. But what I do miss is the learning elements. I liked that hopeful future-esque kind of persona that Epcot had, that it was leading us somewhere. On the other hand, I fully understand too, how do you stay ahead of the times? We've surpassed Moore's Law. I think, again, anything I say on this podcast could be absolutely made up. So I'm not sure, about anything I'm going to say. Again, a lot of this came from Bright Sun Films. Please go check him out. He is awesome. He's become my new TV channel, right? So, Horizons kind of sat over, I don't think actually, where Mission of Space is. And the idea was that it was going to kind of, it felt like, there were a lot of different plans for Epcot, and we can go through all of those worlds on another episode, but there were some different things that got cut out, right? That it was going to change. If you hear my dog, she's too much to have in here. She's outside whining. And Horizons was gonna, went through a couple different things. It opened a year after the park was open, and originally it was funded and sponsored by General Electric. And the idea, it kind of sounds like it would have been a different Carousel of Progress, right? It was going to take you through some time based on General Electric's inventions, and then bring you back at the end, with some consumer products at the end that General Electric was going to do. So, it ends up being a commercial, and that's all right. There's a lot of Walt that ended up that way, right? Not really a big deal. So it opened again 1 year. I think it was actually called Future Probe at one time, which is such a odd ride. And then later there was a Future Port. So maybe I'm saying those wrong, but it was going to be an Omnimover ride. And it kept getting reduced with some budget cuts, like a 15-minute ride and suspended cars suspended. And then finally Horizons, they landed on that as the final name. And then it opened in October, I believe, of 1981. Omnimover, kind of like Haunted Mansion, 15 minutes long. And it was going to tell the story of all the themes in Epcot and kind of consolidate it into one. Again, I'm just kind of bouncing off this, guys. This is meant to be done in another 10 minutes. So I'm kind of going through, right? And it had a family that you followed, Carousel of Progress. And it went through a farm scene, an underwater scene, and then a space scene. I need to, and I was going to, but I had to go start dinner, take a look at some a ride through, because I've never watched a ride through of it. And then it ended with a hologram call from all the family from their different spots, singing happy birthday to the newest edition of their family. Now, what I don't know, and I didn't have time to look out, so if anyone's here, you can tell me, but it had kind of a choose your own adventure ending, right? Which is kind of cool. So you could choose sea, desert, or space, and they built these unbelievable models and filmed. And so then your car became kind of a simulator on the way out. And in fact, the desert model was the longest continuous miniature shot ever made. And I don't think I'm making that up. And if I am, I'm only making it up because Bright Sun Films told me it was so. And then at the end, you had this gorgeous mural from Robert McCall at the end. It was a great ride. A lot of things Disney certainly liked about it. One of the things is it would hold 2,600 people an hour. So it was a real people eater. You could get folks through, and there was very seldom a wait because it moved so well. It's obviously hugely popular now, like so many things. I'm looking at you, Maelstrom. We all lament, not all of us. I do. I liked Maelstrom. I liked riding it. I might be one of few people under 70 who did, and not true. There's tons of folks. Dinosaur. People are sad that's leaving. That is someone's favorite ride. I'm okay with it. I still love it, but I'm okay with it. I just rode it last weekend, and I was kind of humming Indiana Jones in my head, and that might be too soon. And if it is, I'm sorry. I don't mean any offense. But I think, beside having great capacity and not a whole lot of wait time, GE stopped their sponsorship in 1993. So it had no updates. It was running basically the way it always had been, and Disney had to take on the headache of funding it and fixing it all on their own. And so, it finally closed down, kind of unceremoniously. During that time, though, around there, Universe of Energy was changing over to Ellen's Energy Adventure, which I miss. I liked that. And World of Motion, never got to go on, turned into Test Track, which has gone through a number of variations, and we're getting a new one now, right? I'm very excited. I like Test Track. I like everything. I'm easy. So during that time, they opened up Horizons to kind of eat up some of that area during all that construction and all this renovation and getting everything done. But I'm watching the time, 7:15. I'm doing okay. But I think they made the announcement in 1998 on New Year's Eve, and then about 9 days later, it became gone, abandoned, as Bright Sun's film would say. So we lost it. It sat there, and it sat there for a long time. And according to them, they had the press go through there one more time, as it was, and ride it. And then finally demolition started, and now it's Mission Place. That's a different ride. Mission Space, which I think is pretty good. I can't judge, right? You tell me in the comments. Tell me in the But Mostly Disney Facebook group. Let me know what you think. Should it have stayed the way it was? I don't know. I didn't get to compare. I like Mission Space, so I'm really happy with what they've got there. But I never got to go on it. It was only open for 14 years, and it had Marty Sklar, John Hench. I mean, there are some people who really put their hands on this to make this an amazing attraction. And I think people love it. It was probably good storytelling. And look, we know that Disney people hate change, right? We don't like things disappearing. We don't want them to go away. We want them to stay forever. And Walt said the place is not supposed to be a museum, right? It's supposed to keep moving and keep changing as long as there's imagination, right? However, I do think Mission Space can still fall into that hopeful future, kind of modern theme that Epcot had, trying to stay. I think Moana fits into that. And some people think it's dumb. Maybe it's a little more juvenile, but I think it's kind of interesting. And even though you got to read some of the, heaven forbid, some of the information of why water is so important on our planet, I think that the way they did that as a learning and really fun tactile experience is pretty cool. And I think it'll draw some folks in. And I think I think it's safe to say that that's going to stick around for a while. If I was a betting man, and I'm not, I would bet on Moana standing the test of time and really sticking around for the long term. But we don't like the change. I don't like they got rid of the fountain. Walking in was pretty amazing. There's a lot of stuff that they do, and I trust Disney. I really do. It doesn't mean I agree with them all the time, but I can't think of anything, the exception of the Polynesian lobby, that I really think was bad. Communicore is a close second. We'll see. I'm still hopeful that that will work itself out and become something amazing and wonderful that we all are so thrilled to have. I just think it's lazy Imagineering, if there was any at all. I mean, it just looks like a building. And look, we could go on for hours about the how much I love that waterfall. I just posted a picture of my kids in front of that. I'll post some more because I'm that bitter that I sit around thinking about this all the time. So that's really all I got. I just wanted to run through what Horizons was, familiarize myself. I'm trying to talk for a living, and that's what you get, guys. Familiarize myself with some of the stuff that I didn't get to see because it comes up in conversation quite a bit. Disney folks want to talk about it. They want to think about it. And I want to be able to have an answer, even if it's just to ask a good question, to find out what it was like, what I missed by coming in late, because my Disney adventure in its form that it takes now really didn't start till 2006. So that's all I got for tonight. It's kind of a place filler. I just want to be able to stay on a schedule and say I'm doing it. Next week is episode 6, which is a big one, right? Confetti, fireworks. There'll be a cake because, from what I understand, that's kind of the breaking point, right? Where most podcasts at number 6 turn over and die. Not this kid, not this guy. I'm going to keep talking to nobody like it's my job. But next week, I think I'll have Andrew back. And I think I'm hoping next week we have a little surprise guest, a truly an expert, somebody to come in and run through the history of something that I think is probably pretty beloved to all of us Disney fans, and someone who I know knows a lot about the topic. So that's good. In the meantime, keep following me on social media. I am, if you're interested, working on this YouTube experiments. I'm trying to get to 4,000 watch hours. So I'm right now, I think, around almost 2,800. So I need 1,200 people to watch for an hour. Does that happen? So like, subscribe, put a playlist on, let it run in the background for 12 hours. That would be amazing. Don't do that. I don't want to cheat the algorithm. So I'm interested to see what it would like once it gets monetized, because let's face it, I want to do this. I want to keep sharing it. I want you guys to tell me what you want to see, and I will try to bring it to you. But it's not cheap, guys. It costs money, even with some of the cost cutting features I've found. I'll share those with you guys. I don't keep anything to myself, much to my wife's chagrin, because she says every time I tell somebody something, then they go do it. Then it's not a secret. Then we lose our advantage. But that's all right. What is life if not to share? So follow me on Instagram. I think I'm but mostly Disney on almost everything, with the exception of YouTube. I think to search that, you still have to hit @Utator, but that's going to change. I just haven't gotten the courage to do it. I'm a little nervous. I have but mostly Disney locked away. I need to delete it, my son says, and then attach it. So I'm going to do that, try that probably when I get back. I'm leaving tomorrow afternoon for Disney. So be on the lookout for reels and photos and overposting. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm trying some TikTok, but guys, if you have suggestions on how to make this better or how to expand the reach, let me know. Check out Lou Mangello. I was on his podcast. It's pretty fun. His most recent episode, Are You In or Are You Out? I felt like I was an outlier and all alone on a lot of things. And Food and Wine, in my end, it's the best festival. I technically like Festival of the Holidays better, and I have a sentimental place in my heart for Flower and Garden, because it was the only one we saw for many, many years. But I still love you, Food and Wine. I don't care what Lou and Amanda said. I was happy to be standing alone in the face of adversity there. So check that out. It's a lot of fun. I'm not going to listen to it. You tell me how it was. Thanks for watching, guys. And then I'll try to get back on schedule next week, Thursday night, 7:30 with Andrew, and a surprise. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, smash the button, everything the kids say. I really appreciate the support. Have a really big day. Thanks.